All right, y'all. So I'm back. Today we're going to be talking about leaks. Of course, there is someone who leaked it and all that. And normally I would give credit to the leaker, right? Which I'm still going to give credit, but I'm not going to mention the leaker for obvious reasons. Now, the new event is going to be a map event, and you're going to get a SSR recollection bit, and it's going to be Chad Yaga, right? This is going to be one of the memories that we're going to be getting from the new map event. In terms of appearance and appeal, definitely going to be something that I put on my lobby screen. But yeah, let's get to the actual spice of the video, which everybody's been waiting for. So as you can see, we are getting Miwa, right? So Miwa is actually going to be the next SSR characters, considering they're in the game files, like I mentioned, and then we'll be getting Mekamaru. I'm kind of hoping that this character actually turns out to be really good. We do have her kit here. We're just going to talk about it. This is going to be my first, I guess, impression of it, because I didn't really look over it or anything. Like I just got it, and then yeah, I just left it as is. I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do it, you know, all in the video, and we can kind of just discuss it together, right? As you already know, we do have two Miwas in the game. We do have the SSR Miwa, which we've already had previously. I'm just kind of hoping that this Miwa is actually really good, just because I feel like a lot of Miwas are going to have like the same core mechanics every single time, counters, all that shit. I don't like how it's like that. I wish they would kind of just step out of their comfort zone and start making like a little bit more diverse. Like, obviously, we do have some Megamines that can do breaks. We have some Megamines that can stun. We have some Megamines that can debuff. You know, we have Megamines who can do follow-up attacks. You know, they do various things. But then I feel like Miwa is just that one trick who keeps doing the same shit over and over. So we're gonna hope that she isn't the exact same way, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I really think she's gonna be like very similar. But of course, you can obviously make the character better by giving them better modifiers and, you know, more synergy within their kit with other characters. All right, so now we're going to be talking about the kit. First thing that you'll notice is that this character is green. And as you know, when we did see the, of course, reveal on Shibuya, Mekamaru was also green. So green is definitely getting some buffs, you know, like they're basically getting stronger. I want to see how Miwa kind of synergizes with Mekamaru, considering we're going to get two greens nearly like very close to each other. It's kind of weird to me that there has to be synergy in between the two characters. There has to be, right? Or something to play in part that they could work well together. Let's talk about the skills. So you're gonna see the skill 1 here. 130% melee physical damage to a selected enemy, and then if the counter state is active, you gain 3 Bato counts, and then after the skill is used, you'll cancel counter state and simple domain state. So just judging off of the first skill, we already know that she's gonna have a counter state, again another counter, fucking Miwa, who could have thought, and simple domain state. So they're gonna have simple domain. I did see on the wiki though that the SR Miwa did get a change to their passive, I believe it was. They added like simple domain, so we'll see. Next up, we have skill 2. So skill 2 is going to be your buffing skill. This is going to cost you 20 curse energy, so relatively good. Increases your own your own physical damage by 20% for 2 turns, and then you'll activate the counter state for 2 turns and simple domain state, right? And then if Bato count is 15 or above when activating, you'll also deal 300% melee physical damage to all enemies, which is very nice because I believe, how much is the SR Miwa? I think the SR Miwa is also 20, like curse energy, like for her counter. So you might not even be using the SR Miwa anymore. You might just start using this Miwa with of course Todo for, like, you know, the Todo cheese strat. Now, counter state: when targeted by enemy attack, you'll deal 100 physical as counter damage, and then if your Bato is 10 or above, becomes 200% damage, which overall is pretty good. You're going to be doing your turns and attacking as well, so you're going to be getting a little extra damage just by attacking. Now, of course, she doesn't have taunt from what I've seen yet, right? Based off those first 2 skills. So you still have to, of course, get hit, but you do have the counter. We'll see how that turns out, right? Let's go on to skill 3. So as you can see, skill 3, there's like a crit buff thing there. It's going to cost you 20 curse energy. It's going to deal 420% physical damage to a selected enemy. Not bad. That's actually a very low energy curse energy cost skill 3. A lot of the other characters usually have like 30, like the ones that hit hard. This one is going to hit pretty good. It's 420. It's not like crazy, but it does add like extra things to it, which give it more value, like crit rate increase. It's also going to increase your own Bato count. So Bato count is like, I guess, you know, like the core mechanic of this character. Then it's going to cancel counter state and simple domain state after skills performed. And then if the Bato count is 10 or above, it'll grant counter state to self for 2 turns, and simple domain state. So you do have 2 different ways of getting the counter state, which is good. That means you'll have consistency in having your counter up a lot of the time. Now it says when targeted by an enemy attack, you'll deal 200% of 100% physical damage as counter damage. Now let's get into the spicy part. So the ult is going to deal 900% damage to the selected enemy, and then it's going to taunt the selected enemy 1 turn, 1 time. I don't relatively like this overall, like from what I've seen from the kit so far. Just because like you're using counter mechanics with this character, but you have a taunt and the taunt is on your ult. It kind of feels a little bit weird and iffy. You're basically banking on the chance that she gets hit to actually do damage. So again, just like the other Miwas, it's kind of like iffy. Let me see. You'll also be increasing your own physical damage by 20% for 3 turns, and you'll grant yourself the counter state to self for 2 turns and simple domain state. And then of course counter state is the same as it was previously for the other skills in terms of how much damage you do. I think that's pretty good though. Like you have like 3 parts of your entire kit that helps you build up your counter state, so I don't think that's bad at all. And then of course you'll be able to get more Bato counts, like once you put your counters up. Once you put your counters up, like whenever you use your other skills, and then you just start spamming your skill 1, because you don't need to obviously spam your counters because you're already in your counter stance for like 2 turns. You can go into your skill 1s and just spam that, right? Which will give you more Bato counts, which is good because if you have more Bato counts, that means you'll be dealing more damage when you counter. On top of that, you can grant yourself counter again, like on your skill 3 if you have 10 or more, which shouldn't be too difficult because you'll have the counter state for 2 turns, right? So if you have the counter state for 2 turns, you can just kind of build up your Bato with your skill 1. Not bad overall. Now let's get into the passives, because as you noticed, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this is the first character to have full passives, like straight down the board. As you can see, she literally has 4 passives, like literally full, like at least visual wise, right? There maybe in the future they might add more than just 4. It might be a little bit more. It's just for the visual appearance, but she has 4 passives. So we need to literally analyze this, because this is going to basically like be super important for the entire like rest of her kit. So now we have passive 1. So passive 1 is when in counter state, you'll deal 100% counter damage when attacked, and then it changes the multiplier depending on the skill used. And then it will increase own physical damage by 3 turns and increases Bato count by 4 when the counter is performed. Overall, that's already an amazing buff. Now, it might not sound like much, but when you consider the fact that you're able to do it for 3 turns, stack it up 3 times, and basically your entire kit allows you to do counters, and then on top of that, you're getting extra damage, right, from the counters, right, when you're attacked because of this passive skill. That's good overall. Like, your counters are going to be amazing. They're not going to be bad. They're going to do pretty good damage. They're obviously not going to be nuke damage level, but they're going to be good damage that you'll notice over the course of the entire fight, right? Obviously, that gives you survivability too, because it's counter. Then we have passive 2. So passive 2 is while in the simple domain state, you'll reduce Jujutsu damage received by 20%. So that's curse damage. And it will nullify domain expansion effects on self. And then once counter state is canceled, so is the simple domain state. That means whenever you're fighting enemies where, of course, a lot of the most difficult enemies are the ones that can use domains. The ones that use domains usually tend to like one-tap you or do some crazy shenanigans that make it very difficult to, fight against. Now you're basically nullifying the domain expansion effects on yourself. So passive 3 is grants effects to self based on the number of Bato counts at the start of the turn. So like I mentioned, when you use your other skills, like your skill 2s and your skill 3s, and then you go into your skill 1s, where your skill 1 can stack 3 Batos every time you use it. When you have 1 count or higher, you'll get a 11% physical damage increase. If you have 4 Batos, you're going to get 14% ult gauge charge rate increase. If you have 18 Batos, you're going to get 50% crit damage increase. And if you have 24, you're going to get cursed energy consumption efficiency. So as time goes on throughout the entire fight, you're just going to get stronger. I don't recall anything in her entire kit that removes Bato counts. You literally just get extra additive effects as you get more Bato counts, which means you're essentially ramping up throughout the entire course of the fight. Now you're going to get physical increase and ult gauge charge rate increase to go up by 1% for each count, up to 50% each at 40 count. So that's already crazy. That's crazy, because once you already reach up there, that means you're going to be spamming your ult fast. You're going to be doing a lot more damage. I'm not gonna lie, just judging by these first 3 skills, she's already looking pretty powerful compared to all the other Miwas that they've released. Like, I don't think she's gonna be bad at all. Now, is she gonna be a must summon? I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to see some gameplay. Now, using a skill increases the count by 1 up to 40, right? So that's going to increase your Bato counts. And then you're going to have your fourth passive. So your fourth passive increases your own damage at the start of the turn based on how many Kyoto students are present at the start of wave, stealth included. So it's going to be 20% if 1, 30% if 2, 40% of 3, and then 50% if 4, which is really good. Because here's the thing, and I'm pretty sure Mekamaru has the same effect too, where he increases his damage as well when he has Kyoto students that are present, right? Which means they're basically going to synergize well together. They're basically going to have the same passive, so they're both going to work good. And of course, they're both green. So that means you're going to be using them in a lot of content together where you want to utilize green. You might even use Geto, so that way you can kind of increase the amount of damage that your greens do, and then you'll probably have like some kind of sustain in your team somewhere, right? Or, you know, somebody that can buff, right? Kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie to you. She's looking pretty promising. Of course, like I mentioned, I won't know until we actually play with her. Now that we're done with that, let's actually move on from her, because I don't want to talk about her too much. We've already talked about her enough. Let's talk about the memories and what they do. I'm pretty sure this one's called Walk-in Shibuya. When a skill or ultimate skill, so that's your activation conditions, it will increase your own physical damage by 85% one turn, one time, reusable after 6 turns. Just judging based off of this, I'm already going to assume that this is going to be coming on the same banner with Miwa, because Miwa is a physical character. Then we have the passive effect, where at the start of turn, when self is in counter state, that says enough, right? Increases own damage by 30%. And then you already consider the fact with everything else in her kit that increases her damage when she's countering, and then how many Bato counts you have. It's like, and then of course, if you have more Kyoto Jujutsu High students in your team, it's like, yeah, okay, bro. She has a big damage increase. You're going to be doing tons of counters. You're going to do counter damage from your skills. You're going to do counter damage as well from the passive. It's going to be like, yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of damage just passively by existing, without even actually taking action on your turns. So I really like that. I'm just kind of hoping if there's like the taunt really kind of it's only on ult, but it does kind of save you on like big beefy turns where you know the boss is gonna ult, and like let's say the boss does like a single target ult, of course you'll be able to kind of, you know, live, right? But yeah, those are going to be all the new leaks that have dropped. Again, I would credit the person. I'm just not going to say their name just because, you know, obvious reasons. That's going to be all the information. Of course, when there's more, I will keep you posted and I'll make a video on it. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.